The Last Lesson by Alphonse Daudet. About the author, Alphonse Daudet. Alphonse Daudet, 1840 to 1897, French novelist and short story writer, known for his simple, yet deeply emotional storytelling. His works often depict French rural life and historical events. Famous for Lettres de mon moulin, Letters from My Windmill, and Tartarin de Tarascon. The Last Lesson is inspired by the Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 71, highlighting the loss of language and culture. Background: Prussia, Prussian rule, and France. Prussia, a powerful German kingdom that existed from 1525 to 1947, known for its strong military and disciplined governance. Led by Otto von Bismarck, it played a major role in the unification of Germany, 1871. Franco-Prussian War, 1870 to 71. A war between France, under Napoleon III, and Prussia, led by Bismarck. Prussia defeated France, leading to the capture of Alsace and Lorraine. France was humiliated, and German rule was imposed on the region. Impact on Alsace-Lorraine. The Prussian government banned French and forced people to speak German. The French people in the region felt oppressed and lost their national identity. The Last Lesson reflects this cultural and linguistic suppression. Summary of The Last Lesson. Set in a small town in Alsace-Lorraine during Prussian rule. Franz, a schoolboy, arrives late to class and notices an unusual silence. His teacher, M. Hamel, announces that it is their last French lesson, as German will be imposed. Hamel talks about the importance of one's language and culture. The town's elders attend the lesson as a sign of respect. Emotional ending. M. Hamel writes, Vive la France, on the board before dismissing the class. Themes: love for one's language, patriotism, regret, and the effects of war. Franz's fear and the temptation to skip school. Franz wakes up late and is afraid of being scolded by M. Hamel. He has not prepared for the lesson on participles. Temptation to skip school. The warm weather and chirping birds make skipping school seem appealing. He sees Prussian soldiers drilling in the open fields. Self-control. Despite everything, Franz resists the temptation and hurries to school. The bulletin board, a sign of bad news. On the way to school, Franz sees a crowd at the bulletin board outside the town hall. This board had always brought bad news. Lost battles, new military drafts, commands from the Prussian officers. Franz does not stop, but wonders what the new notice is about. Wachter, the blacksmith, tells him, "Don't go so fast, bub. You'll get to your school in plenty of time." Franz thinks Wachter is mocking him and rushes ahead. The quiet classroom, a strange atmosphere. Franz expects the usual noise, students shouting lessons. The rapping of M. Hamel's ruler, surprising silence. The classroom is as quiet as a Sunday morning. Franz enters nervously, expecting to be punished. Hamel's unexpected reaction: no scolding. Instead, he kindly says, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you." A strange and solemn classroom. Franz notices changes in the classroom. M. Hamel is wearing his best clothes: green coat, frilled shirt, silk cap. He only wears them on special occasions. The classroom feels different. It is silent and serious. Village elders, old Hauser, former mayor, former postmaster, are sitting in the back as a mark of respect. Franz wonders why the atmosphere is so unusual. The shocking news: the end of French lessons. Hamel announces, "This is the last French lesson. From tomorrow, only German will be taught." This is due to an order from Berlin, Prussian rule over Alsace and Lorraine. Franz's reaction: feels a deep regret for not studying properly, realizes the value of his books and language, feels sorry for M. Hamel, whom he used to find strict. Franz and the villagers regret their mistakes. Franz realizes he wasted time playing instead of studying. His books, once a burden, now feel like precious treasures. He will never see Hamel again, making him sad. The villagers regret too. They never valued education when they were young. They have come to school to show respect for Hamel's 40 years of service. The power of one's language. Hamel's lesson on language calls French the most beautiful and logical language, encourages everyone to protect their language, says, when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Franz listens carefully, realizing the importance of his mother tongue. The writing lesson, France and Alsace. Hamel distributes new copies for writing practice. The words France, Alsace, are written in beautiful round handwriting. These words look like little flags hanging across the classroom. Unusual silence. Students focus completely on writing. The only sound is the scratching of pens. Franz's thought. Even the pigeons cooing on the roof seem to be singing in French. He wonders, will they make them sing in German too? Hamel's painful goodbye. Hamel observes the classroom, trying to memorize every detail. Why? After 40 years of teaching, he must leave the country tomorrow. Everything around him reminds him of his long journey. Desks and benches worn smooth. Tall walnut trees outside. The hop vine climbing up the school window. Emotional atmosphere. His sister is packing their belongings upstairs. Even old Hauser, sitting at the back, struggles to read and cries. Hamel's last message. The school clock strikes 12. The Angelus bell rings, and Prussian trumpets sound outside. Hamel stands up, looking taller than ever. He tries to speak, but is overcome with emotion. His final act. He takes a piece of chalk and writes in large letters, Vive la France! Long live France! Without a word, he gestures. School is dismissed. The students quietly leave, deeply moved. The last lesson, important themes. Theme 1, Loss of Language and Identity. Explanation. The story highlights how losing one's language can lead to a loss of cultural identity. The Prussian government bans the French language in Alsace and Lorraine, forcing German in schools. Hamel's words. When a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Example. Franz realizes the value of French only when it is too late. The villagers regret not learning French earlier. Theme 2, Regret and Missed Opportunities. Explanation. The story highlights how people take things for granted until they lose them. Franz regrets not paying attention in class, wasting time playing instead of studying. The villagers also feel regret. They never valued education in their youth. They come to show respect to Hamel, realizing it's too late. Example. Franz says, my books, that had seemed such a nuisance, my grammar, and my history of the saints, were old friends now that I couldn't give up. Theme 3, Patriotism and Love for One's Country. Explanation. The story emphasizes love for one's language and nation. Hamel's dedication teaches till the last moment, despite knowing he must leave. Wears his best clothes as a mark of respect. Final act of patriotism. He writes, Vive la France! Long live France! On the blackboard. Example. The classroom is filled with posters of France, Alsace, showing national pride. Theme 4, The Power of Education. Explanation. Education is portrayed as a tool for empowerment. The Prussians remove French from schools to suppress the people. Hamel tries to teach everything he can in one day, making students realize how valuable knowledge is. Example. Even old Hauser, a villager, comes to school and struggles to read, showing that it's never too late to learn. Conclusion, key takeaways, key points. Language is key to identity. We must value education before it's too late. Patriotism is shown through preserving culture and knowledge. Regret comes from missed opportunities. Seize them now. The last lesson, key literary devices. Literary device 1, symbolism. Explanation. Symbolism is the use of objects, characters, or events to represent deeper meanings. In the last lesson, various elements symbolize language, patriotism, and loss. Examples: Hamel's clothes, green coat, frilled shirt, silk cap symbolizes respect and honor for the last French lesson. Words France, Alsace, in students' copies, represents national pride and identity. Hamel writing Vive la France on the blackboard, a final act of patriotism and defiance. Literary device 2, irony. Explanation. Irony occurs when the actual meaning is different from what is expected. Examples: Franz finds out the value of learning French only on the last day of school. Earlier, he avoided studying, but now he wants to learn. The villagers regret not learning French earlier, but now it's too late. They come to school, but they can't change the past. Hamel, a strict teacher, blames himself for giving holidays and neglecting lessons. Literary device 3, personification. Explanation. Personification is giving human qualities to non-human things. Examples: Franz says even the pigeons might be forced to sing in German. This personifies the pigeons, making them symbolic of Alsace's loss. The Prussian soldiers drilling in the open field contrast with the silent schoolroom, shows oppression versus lost freedom. Literary device 4, metaphor. Explanation. A metaphor is a direct comparison between two unrelated things. Examples: It is as if they had the key to their prison. French language equals key to freedom. Losing language means losing freedom and identity. Hamel looking tall at the end of the lesson. He doesn't grow physically, but his dignity and wisdom make him seem taller. Literary device 5, imagery. Explanation. Imagery uses descriptive language to create a mental picture. Examples: Description of the silent classroom. The only sound was the scratching of pens. Creates a visual and auditory effect of the solemn atmosphere. Franz's emotions when called to recite participles. His heart beats fast. He holds onto the desk, shows nervousness and regret. Conclusion. Importance of literary devices. They enhance meaning and emotions in the story. They make the lesson more impactful for readers. They help us understand themes like patriotism, regret, and loss. Character analysis. Understanding the main characters in detail. Hamel, the teacher, dedicated and patriotic, served as a French teacher for 40 years with sincerity, feels deep sorrow that French will no longer be taught. Strict, but emotional. Previously strict, often punished students for mistakes. On the last day, he is unusually kind and patient. Blames himself for not being more disciplined with his students. Symbol of resistance. Despite the Prussian order, he proudly teaches French till the last moment. His final act of defiance, writing Vive la France, Long Live France, on the board, represents the struggle to preserve language and culture. Franz, the student, careless and immature at first, prefers playing over studying, often avoids homework, initially dreads school and fears Hamel's scolding, regretful and transforming, shocked when he learns it's the last French lesson, feels ashamed for not valuing education earlier, tries to focus but struggles, realizing what he is about to lose. Symbol of lost opportunity. Represents the youth who take education for granted. His change in attitude reflects the pain of realizing too late. The villagers, silent witnesses, represent regret. Old Hauser, the mayor, the blacksmith, and others never valued school before, now feel guilty for neglecting their language and education. Show respect. Attend the last lesson as a tribute to Hamel. Sit silently, overwhelmed by emotion and the loss of their identity. Symbol of cultural loss. Their presence highlights the collective grief of losing one's language. The lesson is not just for Franz, but for everyone in the village. The last lesson and Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Introduction to SDGs in the last lesson. The story highlights the importance of language, culture, and education. It connects with SDGs that promote quality education, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Learning our language and history strengthens identity and social cohesion. SDG 4, Quality Education. Goal: ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Example from the last lesson. The order to stop teaching French in Alsace and Lorraine deprived students of their right to education in their native language. Franz realizes the value of education only when it is too late. Application: education must be accessible to all, promoting multilingual learning. Language should be seen as a tool for identity and knowledge, not oppression. SDG 10, Reduced Inequalities. Goal: reduce inequality within and among countries. Example from the last lesson. The German rulers imposed their language, creating linguistic and cultural inequality. Franz and his people were forced into a foreign identity. Application: language policies should respect cultural diversity. Promoting multilingual education helps in reducing discrimination. SDG 16, Peace, Justice, and Strong Institutions. Goal: promote peaceful and inclusive societies, provide access to justice, and build accountable institutions. Example from the last lesson. The imposition of German led to loss of freedom and cultural suppression. Hamel, despite the situation, remained committed to teaching till the last moment. Application: societies should uphold justice and the right to education. Institutions should protect linguistic and cultural diversity. SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Preserving local languages and cultures is essential for sustainable communities. If communities lose their language, they lose their identity. Application in life. Supporting local languages in education strengthens cultural heritage and unity. Lesson example. Hamel's last lesson reminds the villagers of the importance of their mother tongue for community strength. Conclusion. The last lesson teaches the importance of education, justice, and cultural preservation. SDGs emphasize equal access to education, reduced inequalities, and peace. Real-life application. Learning and preserving languages is crucial for identity and sustainable development. Moral and message of the last lesson. Importance of language and culture. Language is deeply connected to identity and heritage. Example. Franz realizes the value of French only when he is about to lose it. Value of education. Education should never be taken for granted. Example. Franz regrets not paying attention in class earlier. Power of oppression and resistance. Colonizers suppressed native languages to dominate cultures. Example. Prussians banning French in schools shows cultural oppression, but Hamel's passionate teaching is an act of resistance. Realization and patriotism. True love for one's country and culture is often realized in times of loss. Example: the villagers attend the last lesson to show respect and regret. Importance of time and opportunity. We must value what we have before it is taken away. Example: Franz realizes too late that he should have valued his studies earlier. Key takeaway: language, culture, and education are precious and must be protected, appreciated, and preserved. Conclusion: the last lesson. Key takeaways. Language is identity. Losing it means losing a part of who we are. Education is precious. We often realize its value only when it's gone. Oppression versus resistance. Language can be used to suppress, but also to fight back. Regret and awareness. Franz and the villagers teach us to cherish what we have before it's too late. Inspiring quote from the story: when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Why it still matters. Even today, languages disappear due to globalization. UNESCO's International Mother Language Day reminds us to preserve and honor our linguistic heritage. Final thought: Hamel's lesson is for all of us to cherish our language, culture, and education before they slip away. Let's not wait until it's too late. As we wrap up this lesson, let's take a moment to reflect. Language is more than just words. It is identity, culture, and history. Hamel's final lesson teaches us that education is a gift, and we must cherish it before it's too late. Even today, many languages are fading away, taking with them centuries of tradition and knowledge. Let's make an effort to value and preserve the languages and cultures that shape who we are. Thank you for watching. If you found this lesson insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content. Keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, never take your education for granted. See you in the next lesson.